What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the garage. Today, we're going to talk about a huge announcement from Ridgid, something that is very exciting for 2023, which I know may be a little bit of a shock due to my previous videos on Ridgid cordless tools. However, this is some pretty exciting news for those of us that are already in the Ridgid cordless line. So let's take a look and jump down in here, and we'll go over some of the specs that are available at this point. There is no pricing available as of now. That will be coming as we get closer to release for some of these items. But anyways, let's take a look and see what they've announced. So Ridge's big announcement was a line of outdoor power equipment. And this is pretty big because up until now, Ridgid hasn't really had any outdoor power equipment aside from a couple blowers, and those were more so for blowing sawdust out of your shop rather than doing some actual yard work. And as you can see here, all of these tools will be compatible with Ridgid 18-volt batteries. The good news with that is you're not going to have to invest in a new battery line. The bad news is that that may hurt performance a little bit. That will remain to be seen once they're released. I hope to see some good results because, as you can see behind me here, I am invested in the Ridgid line and would love to add some of these things to my collection of Ridgid tools. So first up, we've got the 18-volt brushless 12-inch chainsaw. And from here on out, guys, I'm not going to be talking about the voltage for these. They're all 18 volt. They all use current Ridgid batteries, so there's no need to rehash that for every one of these. The auger is a little bit different. We'll talk about that when we get to it. So the 12-inch chainsaw, you get 100 cuts per charge. I'm not sure what size battery they're basing that off of. Probably one of the larger ones. And we will also discuss something else they're releasing at the end that will help address some of these power requirements for these tools. It has a 10-inch cutting capacity with a 12-inch bar and chain, and it has a chain speed of 10 meters a second. In addition to that, this also has an automatic oiler. There is a chain tensioning system. It is not toolless, so you will have to use tools for that, probably a hex key. This looks like it'd be real handy and compact, especially with the way Ridgid batteries slide on. This is something I'm seriously going to look at when it comes out for doing some minor limbing tasks around the yard. Moving on from there, we've got the 18-volt brushless string trimmer. It's got 2 speeds, and it will reload string in under 60 seconds. You have an adjustable cutting swath of 12 to 14 inches. That's about all there is to say for this one. That should be handy and lightweight, especially for small yards. Here we've got the 18-volt brushless pruner, 1¼ inch cutting capacity, 2,750 cuts per charge. It also has steel blades with a bypass cut, and they claim that this cutting action takes less than 1 second. So this is one of those things where if it takes too long, it may not be worth it. If you're only cutting small diameter branches, using like a regular set of loppers is not that big of a deal, especially if it's quicker than using something like this. But with a cutting action that takes less than a second, may be something handy to keep around in the garden. Now we've got the hedge trimmer, and this thing is pretty interesting. It has a 1-inch cut capacity, which is pretty good, I think, for an 18-volt hedge trimmer. Also has a 180-degree rotating handle, and I don't know if you guys can see, but back here you can see that joint and that seam here. That is where it's going to swivel, so if you're cutting side to side or up and down, you can adjust that handle to your liking and make it comfortable to use. Also has a magnesium gearbox for lighter weight and durability. There is some sort of anti-jam technology. I'm not sure what that entails at this point, but it will be interesting to see. After that, we've got a 4-gallon backpack sprayer. Sprays up to 105 gallons per charge, has adjustable flow rate knob, and it also comes with 4 nozzles. So the 4 nozzle system is definitely an interesting choice. Most of the time you see these with like a twist adjust fixed nozzle, and that's what adjusts your spray pattern. However, this does allow you to truly get like a flat fan or a shower, much like a garden hose, instead of just being different pressures put through the same circular pattern you get with a lot of pump sprayers. And that's what leaves that ring kind of pattern if you're spraying on like a foundation or something, for instance. So that is kind of cool to see that you do have a true flat or shower pattern available. That'll make it pretty versatile and probably a lot more efficient to use than a pump sprayer. One thing to keep in mind with a backpack sprayer, and something I always like to mention, is that you're wearing it on your back, so be mindful of what you're putting into one of these sprayers. If you spring a leak or something, you can really burn your skin or cause other damage depending on what you have loaded in the sprayer. So just something to be aware of and keep in mind. And from experience, getting some stuff from sprayers on your skin is not a good time. And now we have another blower. This one appears to be more of a lawn and garden blower compared to the other offerings in Ridgid's line. Has 510 cubic feet a minute, 130 miles an hour, and it is a variable speed trigger and cruise control, so that probably has some sort of lock so you don't have to continuously hold the trigger down for extended use. Does state that it's 84% quieter than gas. However, with blowers, a lot of times most of your noise comes from the fan and not the engine. So take that for what it's worth, but it is cool to see an actual leaf style blower versus just a dust blower. This thing also has a metal scraper tip on here. So this is a metal tip that you can actually use to dislodge things that are stuck to the ground or pavement. Now you do have to kind of watch what you're scraping on, because you could scratch or damage the surface you're working on, but it is kind of a cool feature. Also will make that nozzle a little bit tougher from bumps and bangs. Finally, we've got the auger, and this, they claim gas-like digging performance. This takes dual batteries. It doesn't take dual batteries to make a 36 volt system. It's simply extending the capacity of the two batteries at 18 volts. And that makes sense for a piece of equipment like this, especially if you're digging deep holes or several holes doing a fence install or something along those lines. Now it does have a high, low, and reverse. It's also got a quick connect 8-inch bit that comes with it. So this will be interesting, and this is what I'm talking about with these 18 volt batteries and the performance. All the other tools on this list are going to perform decently with an 18 volt battery. The length of use may suffer a little bit from a smaller battery and lower voltage. However, with this, they've obviously doubled up batteries to get more runtime out of them. I'm just concerned that maybe 18 volts isn't going to be enough to make this a very efficient auger, but I don't want to doubt it yet, and we'll wait and see what people are saying about it once it is available. So if you have a Ridgid tools, you're going to have some choices for your yard this year, or next year, I should say. Another thing that they are coming out with that is not in this list is going to be an 8 amp hour and 12 amp hour 18 volt battery. So obviously they're seeing that length of use and runtime as a somewhat of an issue, because they're coming out with some absolutely monster batteries for these things. So time will tell how long we're going to get out of those batteries and what pricing will be on those. I really hope it's not going to be close to these 36 volt batteries that you see for some of the other electric tool companies like Ego, or the 40 volt Ryobi batteries. I mean, those batteries are a little pricey, but they are 36 or 40 volt, and you do get that 36 and 40 volt performance out of them. With these being 18 volt batteries, they're going to be bulky, they're going to be heavy, and you're not really probably going to want to use them in some of your other power tools, especially in the Ridgid line. So they're going to be kind of a specialty use battery for this equipment, and price is going to be a factor, I believe. So with all that being said, is this something you guys are excited about? Are you looking forward to it? What are your thoughts? Me personally, I'm in the Ridgid line. I've got some batteries. There are a couple tools, like I mentioned, that would be worth looking into for me personally. I'm looking into the chainsaw, because I have a few small trees that need to be cut down and some limbs that need to be taken care of. Otherwise, I don't see too much on the list I need personally, for especially for my yard. I just don't have a lot of lawn maintenance needs, and I'm already in the 40 volt Ryobi line for my string trimmer. So I would lean towards buying something in that line as far as outdoor power equipment goes than something in the Ridgid 18 volt line. But I'm already in that system and don't have to go buy new batteries to start fresh. If you don't have another system you're using for outdoor power tools, might be worth taking a look at these when they are available. No pricing is out yet. That will come towards January as we get closer to their release. There also isn't really a schedule for release, so we're not quite sure if these are going to be available right in January all together at once, or if they're going to trickle them out over the course of several weeks or months like they have been with other tools this year. I do want to say that I am so happy to see Ridgid coming out with something that's not already in the line, that's not just a refresh or a revamp of something that exists already. But is it going to be too late because others have had this stuff out for quite a while now? Are a lot of people already invested in another line that they're using for their outdoor power equipment needs? More than likely, if you're into cordless tools, you have something already. I just hope that they do continue to do things like this and bring out some actual new and exciting equipment.